Good afternoon again. Like I said, people locally and elsewhere, I've traveled around the nation and back on the Amtrak, and also on Greyhound. I've heard that there is really a lot of loud disruption politically. But another fact is that at any given time, usually there's only maybe one, two, three, four, or maximum maybe five participants at the same time, and then nobody that's actually around, and you never see anybody wearing any Nazi paraphernalia. In other words, in the previous message I say that somebody hidden in the confusion who might actually be in a psych ward or something like that says that they like to be a beer hall push, that they themselves like to emulate Hitler, okay? And that some of them like to even to physically look like villains of the past, okay? But doesn't mean that I'm not saying that they're, that I've seen them doing anything, because they're always hidden. And people, the entire time I've been in Sarasota, I don't think I ever saw anyone wearing any kind of Nazi, old Hitler stuff or anything. But what I do remember from Sebring was when Bill Love, who was secretly apparently associated with Hitler kind of subversion, chose a house on Lakeview Drive, North Lakeview Drive in Sebring, and just south of the house that Love bought, there was another house on the corner, the southeast corner of Lakeview Drive and Scenic Highway. And there was a house there that had an advertisement sign in front of it saying SS War Memorabilia. So anyway, I never bought anything from it. I wasn't interested in that kind of stuff. I walked into it on one occasion just kind of to see what it was about, and I didn't have any interest in it, so I just walked back out. So, but I don't know about Bill Love. He had a business that was built with a lot of surplus kind of bids and aircraft parts, etc. And as I'm speaking, you can't hear it in the video, but there is awareness, and that there is concern by people passing by, but in the traffic confusion, the people don't see is that there's mockery. They said, yeah, we hear what you're saying, we know what you're saying, no, this is what we are, you can't do anything about it, and some of them absolutely insist that they're from Salt Lake City, and one of them one day, I hope that all the innocent people are safe, but one of them said, we're trying to tear this nation apart, basically they term Albert Hardman, the father I described, who staged his death in 1967 in Miami, as being their Aldolf. And it's just, they'd be dangerous if you were put to their midst and they had control over anything. And in the interim, they like to be as provocative as they can to get so I say angry words back at them that they then threaten to torture me about, and that's been a reality for a lot of years. If it happened, I'd really get scared about it. In the interim, I've been trusting that hopefully reports have been good enough to prevent them instead. So anyway, I'm this patriotic U.S. citizen. I'd be offering to present any of these notes, details into Congress, even though I know that there's a lot of opposition. Congress, there's people of all kinds of different opinions in Congress. They're supposed to, of course, all be patriotic and for the continuation of our nation. There are probably some who aren't, but I don't know of any, so I'm not accusing anyone. But I wouldn't want to get there with the idea of wanting to be scrutiny or anything. Rather be, what a great place. That's, maybe this can help our nation and our people a little bit for the future. So. Right now it's just kind of dangerous what we're seeing in the world now. I don't follow the news that much. The same offenders, they're all gays. I'm not accusing all gays about it, but what gets at me all the time is, and they use an operation. They like to accuse me about being excited about seeing battle scenes and stuff like that. But really, I'm just really peaceful. So, unfortunately, what we're seeing is whatever the realities are pertaining to any provocations of Russia or whatever, is that we're on the edge of what is the most serious, perhaps most dangerous conflict in the history of the world. Because there are agitators that are trying to agitate for there to be a nuclear Armageddon. Now you know that when that kind of stuff is said in the clandestine kind of noise here, and that they've rabble-roused and caused a loud disturbance for 30 years, that in other places, that you don't know how much worse they might be. You know, how much regulation is there about former Russian, Soviet nuclear arsenals, etc. Those are matters that I don't have any way of knowing anything about. That's matters that was partly trust, a matter of trust, you know, and inspectors. Trusting that inspectors are being honest also. You know, certainly there is really worries about that. And no matter how good, and another fact is that I'm not speaking for in support of the Putin government. I don't know anything about him, etc. But what we do know, that whether it would be him personally or anyone else, is that when there is so much forward motion through so many years, is that there are some in their military who are, whether they be aligned with any kind of Hitler subversion, is that there are others that certainly must be against. And that when they see that much, power, isolating them, that there is agitation, and we got to hope that their restraint against the use of any nuclear weapons, and of course here in the United States, you know, I'm always hoping and praying that there is sensible leadership for restraint. But you see, what they're doing now, what happens about what I hear focused at me, and what a corruption and a secret abuse family made secret decisions years ago about, is they create something that they think of as kind of like an exclusion zone. Loud, you know, you can go anywhere you want, but they surround you, put a ranting, noisy separation, you know, at night. And I heard joking about it years before. I'm not saying that it has anything to do with what happened back in, I forget what year it was, pertaining to Chernobyl, where they ended up creating an exclusion zone because of radiation contamination. I don't know, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying at the same time that I was pounced at by a terrible, very loud offense starting in early 1989. And at the time, I was staying temporarily in the Alamanda Motel on North Trail, working maintenance work, lawn work in exchange for a home. It was a difficult situation, but the only situation I had. And during that time, I used some of my spare time, using some basic references that I had, studying against worries against Hitler threats. So anyway, this was work, concern work, against the maniacs that were saying Hitler threats, right? So anyway, apparently the result was that some that were corrupt, whether they're, whomever, detailed in a lot of written reports, decided to start a very noisy disturbance, and there weren't any accusations about it. It was just a sudden start. One night there was a loud speeding semi-truck. The next day everything was radio sound, all the air conditioning, all the ground equipment, everything all around, And it's just, then they never stop. And I detail in various reports, as well as I can, to the best of my understanding, what they're about. And I'm worried for our people. I'm worried for our nation. I don't see anything happening day to day. Thank God that mostly there is normalcy in our overtly visible lives. The people day to day getting back around to school, to work, etc. But what we continue to hear is a same disruption that's been happening now for more than 30 years. They aren't reasonable. It isn't normal to always disrupt it one man all day and night. I'm the guy that can really represent against that kind of disturbance and against what they have espoused against that menaces and plans against our own people. I'm for our people being safe. I'm for a continuation of our great Constitution, and I'm hoping everyone's going to have a safe and secure future to look forward to.